The Adventist Church's president calls on members to observe a special day of prayer for the West African Ebola crisis.
And Ted Wilson also urges members to study the theology of ordination for themselves.
These stories and more coming up.
This is A&N, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thanks so much for joining us this week as we mark our 3rd year anniversary. Seventh-day Adventist World Church President Ted Wilson has called on members to designate October 11 as a special day of prayer for people in West Africa affected by the Ebola epidemic. In a statement last week, Wilson urged members to pray that God will put a halt to the spread of this virulent virus. Also, in response to the growing crisis, church leaders and humanitarians paused last week to offer prayer for everyone who's affected by the disease. Later in the program, we'll share more about the church's social media prayer campaign for the Ebola crisis and how you can get involved.
As global church leaders prepare to meet for the 2014 Annual Council, World Church President Ted Wilson challenged members to see for themselves what the Bible has to say about the theology of ordination and how it relates to gender. Wilson also asked for members to pray that he and other church leaders will humbly follow the Holy Spirit's leading on the discussion. Wilson added that the crucial question facing the church wasn't whether women should be ordained, but whether church members who disagreed with the final decision on ordination would be willing to set aside their differences to focus on the church's mission. Church Vice President Artur Stella shares how members can launch their study of this topic.
For the members, probably the best thing is to go to this final report. If they would like to know more, they can go to the web page of the Archive, Statistics and Research at the General Conference. Actually, in this final report, all the addresses are presented, and all the articles and all the materials that have been produced.
A flood caused significant damage and the death of a teacher at an Adventist boarding academy last week in the state of Meghalaya in India. The waters were 2 meters or 7 feet high and destroyed the compound wall surrounding the Riverside Adventist Academy and its kitchen, dining hall, and iron gate. All the students were sent home. It's estimated the repairs will take up to 2 months to complete. The 27-year-old teacher who was killed was washed away after he rescued scores of students from the water. Rituraj Pukhan taught at the school since 2008 and was beloved by his students and colleagues.
We previously reported on an alleged forced reconversion of Adventist members to Hinduism in Azroy, India last month. A newly released report by an internal church commission said those claims of forced reconversion are untrue and that members reconverted of their own will because of little support from leadership. The report states, quote, "There seems to be very little attention paid to these laity since the inception of the church in 2005, close quote. The report also stated Hindu activists had been in constant touch with these people. For now, the church has been officially labeled inactive in the Adventist Regions Directory.
Community service initiatives in the Southeast Asian country of Singapore recently received national recognition for the program's impact on its community. A representative from the Prime Minister's office recognized the contributions of the Pay It Forward program and the Adventist Church. Grace Fu, the elected official, presented Adventist Community Services with the People Association Community Spirit Awards 2014 Excellence Award. The Pay It Forward program by ACS in Singapore provides food, health screenings, shopping vouchers, and food assistance to low-income families. The Pay It Forward Plus program goes a step further by offering monthly holistic assistance to families in need. Wellness ambassadors from the program visit the families to provide free health checkups and motivate the families to make healthy choices.
The Prasak community in the Kampong Thom province of Cambodia recently received its newest primary school thanks to the collaborative efforts of humanitarian agencies. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, in partnership with KinderCare Learning Centers and Room to Read, sponsored the construction of the school. The 6-room Prasak Primary School recently celebrated its grand opening. ADRA Cambodia and KinderCare will continue to work with the community and school to support landscaping, latrines, playgrounds, and gardens.
Seventh-day Adventist World Church leaders are set to discuss the theology of ordination among other agenda items next week at the 2014 Annual Council. The theology of ordination will likely be the key discussion of the 7-day meeting of the World Church's Executive Committee. Next week's meeting could be the last time the matter of ordination is officially deliberated before being set as an agenda item for next year's General Conference session. Also on next week's agenda is a constituency meeting of Oakwood University, a historically black university in the U.S. state of Alabama. Oakwood has operated as an institution of the denomination's world headquarters since it was established as an industrial school in 1896. Constituents will vote whether to accept a request from the Oakwood Board of Trustees to transfer the university's constituency to the church's North American division.
Coming up, the church's top education leader shares how teachers are vital to Christian education.
Many people came and told Jehoshaphat that a vast army was approaching to wage war against him. Alarmed by this news, Jehoshaphat proclaimed a fast for all of Judah. People came from every town in Judah to fast and pray together. We were part of a large group, and Jehoshaphat was earnestly asking God for assistance. Then a man called Jahaziel stood up and said that Jehoshaphat should not be concerned, that it was not his battle, but God's battle.
It was early in the morning when we set out in the desert of Tekoa. We were seriously concerned about facing this huge army, but we were told to have faith. We had also prayed. When our reconnaissance platoon came over the hill, we only saw dead bodies all around. The enemy had apparently turned on each other. Jehoshaphat's prayers had won the battle, without even having to fight.
Welcome back. And now for more news from our global church community.
The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization designated Sunday, October 5 as World Teachers' Day. This is a time to acknowledge the impact teachers make not only on the lives of their students, but also on future generations. Lisa Beardsley-Hardy shares the impact teachers have on Christian education.
Well, the heart of Adventist education are teachers. Adventist education is not the buildings, it's not the books, it's not even the curriculum, it's teachers. And a curriculum, books, buildings can't love a child. Teachers can love a child. That's what Adventist education is about, seeing children for whom Christ died and loving children.
The historic property organization, Adventist Heritage Ministry, will soon become more integrated with the church's structure. The board of the Ellen White Estate voted last week to accept the ministry's request to become a fully integrated entity of the church. The organization owns 4 properties in the United States related to the founders of the Adventist Church. Starting in January 2015, the ministry will have a full-time executive director who will also serve as an associate director for the estate of Ellen White, who was the co-founder of the Adventist Church.
We've heard a lot about the Pathfinder ministry for youth, but what about the ministry for children? What exactly is an adventurer? Novo Tempo answered that question with the following report.
The Adventurer Club is a place for kids between the ages of 6 and 9 who like to be active and to learn more about the Bible. And these are just a few of the things that the adventurers have in common with each other.
The Adventurer Club is the part of the Adventist Church that deals with kids who are between 6 and 9. It's been around since 1972, and its objective is to develop children mentally, physically, and spiritually. Here we have many activities, like camping, and also different sports. They're also involved with community service, and our objective is to have our kids be constructive members of society and their families.
Every child loves to camp, sleep in a tent, travel with their friends, and have a hands-on learning experience. And all of this is just some of what adventures are involved in.
To be an adventurer means to be responsible and conscientious, because we love the Lord. It's about fun!
It's about being nice to the animals.
We travel a lot to different places. We play a lot of games, and I like it very much.
By now, you've gotten an idea of what it's like to be an adventurer, and it's clear to see that the kids love being part of this club. But what do the parents think about this?
All the kids that I know can't wait for Saturday so that we can be involved in the club. So my kids are always looking forward to Saturday so that they can be at the Adventurer Club.
Kids here learn how to play games. They learn new skills. I've noticed that they become happier, and it's a crucial part of their development. It's an opportunity that she has to learn more about the Bible and Jesus.
And the kids here love camping. And it was on a recent weekend that 700 of them got together in the Brazilian state of São Paulo for an adventuree. And a lot of them left here planning what to do for their next event.
We would like for the kids to leave here inspired for the next journey in their lives, knowing that it's all coming to an end very soon. It will be the return of the greatest adventurer of all time, Jesus Christ.
Local government officials and church leaders in Italy recently celebrated the opening of a hospitality facility with a practical mission. Casa Aurora is an accommodation center located near a hospital in the city of Florence to serve out-of-town relatives of patients. Local councilor Sarah Finaro praised the center and said, "As a municipal government, we will encourage and stand behind anyone who creates projects to help the community." In addition to guest rooms at a lower rate than local hotels, Casa Aurora also offers vegetarian meals and a reading room with a library.
A church in the U.S. state of California is taking a unique stand for water conservation that caught the attention of its community. In the face of drought in the region, the Bakersfield Central Seventh-day Adventist Church decided to take a stand by going brown. The church cut back its lawn watering and now has brown grass throughout its 7 acres of property. This step comes as a result of a year-long effort to find ways to conserve water, including fixing leaky pipes and sprinklers.
And finally, in the news this week, September 22 was designated as Let's Move Day for churches in North America. This was a time for members to find creative ways to get active and focus on health. The North American Division and its Health Ministries Department sent this report from Kansas City in the U.S. state of Missouri.
Let's Move Day is important because it's an opportunity we have as a church to engage with our families in a very practical way, enjoying physical activity outside, modeling what being active is all about, and really connecting with our communities, making friends, getting out there and partnering with others in the community. And it's important for the Seventh-day Adventist Church to do this because oftentimes we do our own events, maybe isolated, but we are not able to get out there and get to know other people and partner with other institutions. So this is a great opportunity to do that and really showing what it is to be, live a very healthy life or active life, and honoring the temple that God gave our body to really take good care of it.
This is a good opportunity to emphasize the importance of using wellness activities such as walking or running to fight the chronic conditions such as high blood pressure or diabetes.
It was so exciting to see many churches of different cultures coming together in Kansas City. This is one of the things that I really felt so happy about, to see African Americans, Hispanics, especially the Latino community fully represented there, bringing out their kids, getting the awards. It's so wonderful, thrilling to see that multicultural partnership in this initiative. You know, Latinos are more at risk for many of the chronic diseases that we see, such as obesity, and diabetes, and so they're much higher than the Caucasian population, and so African Americans and Latinos both are at a higher risk, and this is what we saw at Kansas City. So important for them to be involved because this, needs to be started early on with their kids as they're learning different ways of eating and also being active.
It's important to be active because then later on, like if you get diabetes or something, it'd be very bad. You need to be healthy and be very active so you could get better.
Stella had a global social media campaign for the Ebola crisis.
But up next, find out what's in the October issue of Adventist World.
As I was reading through The Great Hope, this phrase caught my attention. God has given us sufficient evidence of His love, and we are not to doubt His goodness because we cannot understand the workings of His providence. Here's why this brings me hope. It reminds me that in times of trial and perplexity, when I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, or I can't see how God is going to bring me through, He will. God isn't asking me to understand my circumstance. He's just asking me to trust Him with it. And when He does bring me through, I'll be reminded that His hand was with me the whole time, even though I didn't see it. And we have every reason to believe God will do what is best for us because He loves us. And that gives me hope.
I pray for wisdom from God to do really good in school and to do really good in piano and my piano lessons. I pray that all the people that are sick can become well, and whoever needs food should get food and be happy. Please pray 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening, and 7 days a week.
Welcome back. Andrew McChesney has a preview of the latest edition of Adventist World magazine.
The cover story on this month's issue of Adventist World is called Planting a Community Health Center. The idea for this story came last summer when I attended a health conference in Geneva that was sponsored by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. 1,100 professionals from around the world, mostly Adventist leaders and people in the health industry, gathered together in Geneva to discuss how they could actually put together a community health center in their neighborhood. And each of these people went back to their home countries with ideas on how they could do this. I came back to Washington with the idea, how can I share this information with you? How can I myself open a center like this? So I contacted the 13 health directors, each of the Adventist Church's world divisions, to ask them what was the most successful community health center in their region. The results of those interviews with those directors and with different directors of health centers is what actually came together to form this story. I was really surprised to find out that a community health center doesn't even have to be a standalone building next to a church or in a church. It could be something as simple as a water pump in the backyard of a church. If you want to read this story and other stories, please go to our website, adventistworld.org, or check us out in the print edition that hopefully arrived in your mailbox.
And now for our social media segment, Angela Taipei shares how you can unite in prayer with our global church community for the Ebola crisis.
This week in social media, we've been seeing West Africa continue to battle against the Ebola virus. According to the World Health Organization, the death toll has climbed to more than 3,000 in 6 months, with 6,500 confirmed cases as of September 30th. October 11th has been designated as a special day of prayer when we will join together around the world for West Africa as the population confronts the rapidly expanding Ebola challenge. We also encourage you to pray at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. 7 days a week. To see more about this, visit revivalandreformation.org/777. Encourage your friends on social media to participate and let us know you're praying with us by posting and tweeting with the hashtags United in Prayer and Ebola Crisis. You can read more about this on the Adventist Church Facebook page or at adventist.org/unitedinprayer. Keep up to date on this crisis and find specific ways you can help on ADRA International's Facebook and at adra.org. Please pray for protection for healthcare workers caring for the sick. Pray for church members and leaders as they minister to those affected. Pray for those who have lost loved ones to this disease. Pray for a medical breakthrough in treating the Ebola virus, and pray that God will put a halt to the spread of this virus. As stated in the official call and prayer, in all of this, we want those in West Africa to know that not only during the Sabbath prayer emphasis, but day by day, hour by hour, the people affected by this crisis will be lifted up in prayer to our Creator, Savior, and Master Physician.
For this week's Tech Corner, John Beckett shares software programs that can enhance your presentations.
Today we're going to talk about how to do a better job of using PowerPoint and other on-screen technology for public speaking. I think the biggest challenge is to stop thinking about PowerPoint as a way to share speaking notes or outlines on screen as bullet points. This sort of presentation fails to take advantage of the screen to make an impact while dividing a group's attention between what you're saying and what is shown. Instead, we should consider how TV works. Somebody reads from a script while using pictures and video to illustrate what they're talking about. The pictures and the video enhance the story and keep us interested. We can also think of this like the relationship between the pictures and text in a children's book. When we build presentations, we should use pictures, videos, and maybe short quotes that relate to the topic. These things keep the group interested and focus attention on what we're speaking about. If you want to have notes on your computer, put them in the presenter notes box, not on the main screen. I know that sometimes people ask for a copy of your PowerPoint. You might instead provide a printed outline of your talk and remind them that the presentation is the combination of you speaking plus what's shared on the screen. For those who want to improve their presentation craft, there are a lot of resources online. I really like the book Presenting to Win by Jerry Weissman. The TED Talk Speaker Guide is also a great free resource.
In this month's Geoscience Institute segment, Tim Standish shares how the Institute participated in a program with European students.
I'm currently in my hotel room, and when I look around, it's like any other hotel room. It could be anywhere in the world. But this particular one happens to be in Lisbon, Portugal. Sometimes people say to me, it must be wonderful to be able to travel around the world and see so many exotic and wonderful places. I think when people say that, they imagine that we're enjoying some kind of amazing tourism experience or something like that. In this particular case, Jim Gibson, the director of the Geoscience Research Institute, and I have been taking part in the Amicus meetings. Amicus stands for Adventist Ministry to College and University Students. This particular meeting was organized by the Inter-European Division, and so there have been students from all over Europe, from as far away as Romania and as close as Portugal itself. The real privilege of coming to Portugal has been meeting these students. It has been a humbling experience to be with such a dedicated and brilliant group of people, to share what I know about the creation with them, and to work with them as they prepare to serve both our church and the world, not just as amazing professionals, but also as witnesses to the world of the Creator and the wonderful salvation that He's won for all humanity. And now I look forward to the greatest privilege I have, at least here on earth, flying home tomorrow and spending the night in my own bed.
Now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, we learn about the first baptisms in Malawi, Montreal, Canada, Maluku, Indonesia, and the U.S. state of Oklahoma.
This week in Adventist history is one of first baptisms in new fields. On September 30 in 1905, the first Adventist baptism in Malawi took place. At the Plainfield Mission near Blantyre, in what was then called British Central Africa, 7 young men were baptized by American medical missionary Thomas H. Branch. Thomas and his wife Henrietta had arrived 3 years earlier, along with Joseph H. Booth, who was a former Seventh-day Baptist missionary. Together they founded Plainfield Mission, establishing the first Adventist presence in what became the modern country of Malawi, where today there are over 420,000 Seventh-day Adventists. On October 1st, 1899, Pastor Augustin C. Bordeaux baptized the first 10 Seventh-day Adventists in Canada's second largest city, Montreal, and then organized them into the city's first Adventist church. October 3 in 1925 saw the first Adventist baptism on the Molucca Islands, famous in European history as the Spice Islands, in what was then the Dutch East Indies, today the nation of Indonesia. 22 people were baptized by Albert Munson on the island of Ambon. Today there are some 4,700 Seventh-day Adventists in the Maluku Mission. And on October 4, 1892, the first evangelistic meetings in what was then the U.S. territory of Oklahoma concluded when G.W. Page baptized 12 people in Oklahoma City, the first Adventist baptism in what became the state of Oklahoma. That was this week in Seventh-day Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook and Twitter. You can connect with other Adventists worldwide and find links to more stories, photos, and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News or Twitter/Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from Psalm chapter 55, verse 22. The passage says, "Give your burdens to the Lord, and He will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall."
That's our program for this week, and remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.